Hello, hello, and welcome to the show, Brave Knights. I'm your host, Boswin Bastock, and we are going to take a journey through the Unity Learn Programmer's Pathway, Unit 3. Today I'd like to show you guys some fun jump mechanics, a smooth transition between game rounds, and a custom scoring feature built by none other than yours truly. Now, I've already fired up Unity, so stick around, and we'll get started. So, this is the main menu of the game. It has a small title card that advertises the programmer pathway that we started on. It has a larger title card as a header for the two buttons, and it has those two buttons for the two parts of Unit 3, the main project and the challenge 3. Let's click into the main project. And I'm going to pause it so I don't immediately get hit. This little dude basically has to jump and avoid these barrels. There's a scoring system that I built, was not part of the training. There is a fade out for the barrels and the music that will happen as soon as I get hit. I'll actually just let him get hit now so you can see. Boom. See those particle effects? Those were built in. Those are part of the training. I thought they were pretty cool. I wanted to just, give some credit where credit is due, show you guys what's up. See how it says final score? It hid that, showed all three of those technically, and then it has this press any key to play again. So I'm going to press any key. Now I can hit spacebar, and eventually when I implement it, mobile controls. That was way out of scope. If you guys know what scope creep is, oh dear. They spawn between like a half second, and I think I increased it to 1 second. They spawn between like 1 second and 2 seconds, repeating like so every 1 second or every 2 seconds, somewhere in between, on random intervals. That way it's more interesting. Otherwise it's just constantly jumping over the same thing, and it gets boring really fast. So that's where we're at so far. This thing's really interesting. I had a blast making this. We learned about let's see if I can do this and talk. We're learning about repeating background mechanics. If you notice this little guy on the bottom screen, oops, too far. This background here, actually we can watch this one and not have to worry about getting hit. See how this thing goes back? I'm going to have to talk for quite a bit here, but when it gets to about that point, it's going to actually reset, because on the top where the camera is, it's nice and smooth and seamless because this background repeats basically twice, and when it gets to the halfway point, it just bumps it forward right about... Actually, it may have already happened because I don't see the thing. It should be... There it is. See down here on the bottom screen? So it looks seamless here because people who are smarter than I am figured out how to do that. Basically, you just make a background that is repeated twice in the actual graphic, and then you read the width of the background, and you cause the background to repeat by bumping its position and continuing to slowly move it to the left. Works really well. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that first project. And like I said, you can go ahead and jump to avoid the obstacles. If you jump wrong, you'll hit them with the back of your feet. And if you watch closely, you get about... I'll have to go a little longer than that. You get about 10 seconds. Let's see here. 10 points per second that you're alive. And every time you jump, you get an extra 5 points. Now, I didn't do any raycasting to actually make sure you're jumping over a barrel. I just set it up so if you press the button, you get points. This means that you can technically cheat. But if you do it wrong, you'll hit a barrel. So I learned some really interesting mechanics and figured out how to do some things that were taught in other parts of the Unity tutorials, and just things I learned from programming for over 30 years. I've been doing this a while, but I haven't been doing Unity ever, basically. I took a whole bunch of game programming classes in college, and Unity wasn't around. Unity wasn't popular. Maybe let's put it that way, 10 years ago. Or at the very least, right? I just didn't opt in to take the classes. I don't know how it worked. I'm taking them now. Been wanting to do this since I was a kid. I have tons of ideas floating in my head, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys, but I need to know how to build them. So I started taking this course last summer. And it wasn't until about 5 weeks ago that I actually got on the shtick and started actually focusing on doing the work, not just, hey, I did it for a week and this is cool, and then ooh, shiny over here, right? I'm really excited. I can't wait to show you guys some of this stuff. Let me show you guys the next thing. The challenge 3, which is a challenge project, right? For after you finish the main project, just like its name. And it's a little balloon that bounces. We had to add the bounce. We had to set up the collectibles. If you pick up the dollar signs, thanks to the additions I've added, it gives you 5 points. That was not part of the original game. It just let you collect them without dying. And if you collect one of the bombs, you die. Very straightforward. Now that's an interesting one. I haven't seen that before. A dollar sign and a bomb spawn in the same place. Can't collect that one. But it has the same, core code base as the last one I showed you guys because it's part of the same unit of tutorial. So I built the one, I built the other, I added all the cool stuff I wanted to do in this one, and then I was like, hey, I can implement all those same features over here. So I did. Simple as that. There's a lot of neat stuff in here. A lot of neat things I wanted to tell you guys. I think the only one that I really need to say in this is this. See how high he's actually jumping? The reason he's able to jump high is because I figured out that if you have this statement, take your gravity and multiply it by a gravity multiplier that is in your start function, when you tell the game to restart the scene, it doesn't clear the values of your variables from memory. So that value right there I just lost it, somewhere in start, there it is, was continually being shrunk, or, the force of gravity was being increased, however you say it. So it was creating a situation where my jumps were smaller and smaller and smaller to where basically I was just doing calf raises. Didn't help at all. There was no way in heck I was going to get over those barrels. I fixed it with that statement. Don't ask me how I figured that out. I don't know if it was checking through Google or pestering ChatGPT for hours or all these debug.log statements to try and figure it out, but I eventually found it, and that's how you fix it. So that was really cool. That was tough. Right, there was one other thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me boop us out of here and back to here. So see these power-ups? See these collectibles? In the very next unit, Unit 4, they're actually going to show us how to make proper power-ups to where if you pick something up, instead of just getting 5 points, you'll actually get like a super jump or whatever you want to make it, right? I haven't learned how to do that. I've coded a lot of the stuff on my own. I figure I'll learn the right way or a better way or something for how to do this stuff later. I just noticed there's a parallax effect. These bombs are moving at a different speed than my dollar signs. I think the dollar signs are static, and see, you can actually die on the bottom. And the bombs are actually moving with the game. That's pretty neat. I've been playing this thing for a couple hours now. Anyways, a lot of cool stuff I got to learn through this unit. Had a blast. Eventually, I might actually release this thing through Unity's own WebGL. It's sort of like an indie game publishing thing where you can literally write in Unity, just click publish, WebGL project, click the publish button, and it will build your game, and it will push it to, like developer.unity.com or something for totally free. Costs nothing. I don't know what the limit on that is, but it works well. And I can share that with anybody who I give the link to. The only thing is, mobile touch controls are so far out of scope. I was like, okay, I need to draw the line somewhere. I added this main menu. I added the scoring. I added the press any key to play again feature. That's where I drew the line, though, at mobile touch controls. It's not actually that hard to implement. Instead of an update, instead of get key down key code space, it's something like, something dot touch or touch dot happened, right? It's not that, but it's really straightforward. It's like a couple extra commands I had right here with an or statement that says if you press the space bar or if you touch the screen just once, because you can do like one finger tap, two finger taps, etc. Then do the things. Yeah, really that simple. But I needed to stop somewhere, or I was never going to release this thing. So that's where I stopped. I might do that eventually. On my game that I actually want to make, which is also going to be a side scroller, I will absolutely add that. Touch controls will be incredibly important. I think what I'll probably do is add a one finger touch to select any of these things, or to actually make the player jump like that, or make him float, or fly, or whatever you want to say. So that's about all I had to say about that. There is one more thing I want to tell you guys, though. So, what did you think of these simple games I've made? They represent the efforts of roughly 2 weeks of hard work. If that sounds interesting, please leave me a like and a comment below, because I plan to post more updates on my journey through Unity. I'm not quite ready to release these games just yet, as like I said, I'm working on those touch controls. But I am working on a personal project called Hypertube Heist. More to come on that later. No spoilers for now. Stick around and you'll be the first to know what those updates are. I'd also like to know your thoughts if you've ever used Unity, if you've ever coded in it, if you've ever messed around with it, tinkered, anything. And you care to share some thoughts on my progress thus far, the kind of stuff you're dealing with, let's create a little community. Let's share some things that have worked well. If you want to tell me that I suck and I've done terrible on some game, and you're actually genuinely trying to provide some constructive criticism, I'd be more than happy to receive it. The only way I'm going to get better is if I can hear that stuff, appreciate it, and learn from it. I might not give you a like or a love for it, but I do appreciate it. That's the progress so far. I have this lovely main menu. We made some obstacles, a neat scoring system, some floating collectibles. Pretty neat, right? Well, there's one last thing I'd like to tell you guys about. The actual last. Not like a pastor who wraps up 3 or 4 times. Some of my favorites as a kid did that. Right. So I also host charity streams where I build this cool stuff or play video games for Extra Life on Twitch. I usually play Saturday mornings U.S. time, and I do stuff like code, like play Satisfactory, like play Octopath Traveler, like play Final Fantasy XIV, whatever, seems interesting at the time, and whatever people ask for. Honestly, I have so many games in Steam because I've had Steam since it came out, and there's stupid amounts of stuff in my queue that I will never get to. If you guys see some of the stuff, I make it public, and you want me to play something, just ask. It's way more fun to play games on stream, whatever, when folks request it, because I know they're interested. I'm going to bump this so many times. I just got this microphone. This thing's so cool, but I'm still getting used to it. The whole reason I do it, though, is for this charity that raises support for local children's hospitals called Extra Life. Our hospital out here in Orlando is the one I support, and I would love to have your support by joining the team, by making a donation, by sending some good vibes, by leaving some encouraging words. All of it helps, and I would love to hear it. If you'd like to drop by sometime, my channel name over on Twitch is the same one as I have here, Boswin McMastock. And lastly, I will end by saying this. Together, we can build worlds and brighter futures. Godspeed, friends.